Hey guys, this is Forsaken Reality here with the 43rd episode of the RPG tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be looking into adjusting our camera system so it's more like an RPG. So, in a lot of RPGs, you're able to walk around to the camera like this. And we're also going to set up a toggle so that we can toggle between this mode and this camera mode. So we can circle our camera, or our camera is we're always looking in our camera direction. So without further ado, we will get into that. This is going to be also used mainly later on when I set up the targeting system. So I'm going to set it up so that when you target someone, you're able to toggle into a certain camera. And also I'll have different things set up. I'll show you how to set up different things. Maybe if you equipped your weapons, you'll enter that's camera stance. I'll show you how to do different things like that. So the first thing we're going to want to do is move this project over here. So now we have our main project set up here. So we're going to want to open up our character and also our character component. First thing I'm going to do is I noticed that there was a few people who couldn't get their camera to stop facing the character. So the way you do that is you just simply tick off this character movement, swap these two around. I believe that was the correct setup for those. Yep. And now you should be able to walk facing the camera. Okay, so now we're going to look working on our rotation toggle. Gonna move that over. I'm not gonna pull that down now. So I'm going to first I'm gonna open up my character component because we're gonna need a boolean here to check if our camera is already locked. And so we have that created. And so now we're going to want to come back into our character. And we're going to go to our replication graph. It's going to comment this. So you can play replicated montages by calling this server event here. I'm going to set this up input. I think I might. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do the function, create the function first. So we have our camera rotation lock function. And we're going to get our character movement, I believe. Yep. And we're going to search for orient rotation movement, and we're going to set that. I'll plug this in here. There's multiple ways we could do this. We could create a camera lock and a camera unlock function and just toggle them on in here. But I'm going to do this so we only need to create one function that'll handle both. And we'll set roller desired rotation. Now we'll put this in down here like that. And since there's only one path going through, there's no true or falses or loops or anything. We won't need to return. We won't need to do any early returns, so because there's no other code to run through. So now we have this function set up. Now we can go to our replication graph. I'm just gonna close out of some of these so there's not 50 pages open that I don't need. And my replication graph, I'm gonna create a custom event server rotation lock. So that's one event. And we're going to run on server, set reliable. And we're going to get our camera lock. Plug that in. We're also going to create another custom event. And it's going to be client camera rotation lock. And a camera rotation lock, but you can just grab your function and pull it out. Either or works. And whatever we set here will be fed into our function on the client, and it's just going to be run an owning client and reliable. That's the camera rotation lock replication finished. Now we can go back to our input graph. First I'm going to create an input. So you want to go into your edit and project settings, go to inputs. And I'm going to create an input for it's going to toggle on and off the camera rotation lock, and it's going to do my left control. And then you want to get your inputs, camera rotation lock. And the first thing we're going to do is check if our camera is already locked. So character component. And we're going to get our camera rotation lock variable. And if we aren't locked, it's going to move this up some so we have some room here. Okay, so if we aren't locked, this will enter into our lock position. The first thing we want to do is copy that, get our character component again, and we're going to set camera rotation lock to true. And I'm going to do switch has authority. This is going to be used to check if it's the server or remote. And for this, we're just going to go camera lock. So it has authority. We're going to set that. And we're going to set our rotation movement to false, and we're going to set this to true. So that'll allow it to work on the server. But there's an issue with the client, so you want to come down off the remote, get your server camera rotation lock. And I also thought of there's other ways you can set this up by not creating a function and just, if this is false, dragging it and setting these two variables right here, and then just creating your two server and client function or events, and plugging those in as well to that, and then just calling those down here where they need to be, where server and client are called right here. But I thought this was a little neater, and it requires me not to have to make too much duplication. No one have to make a unlock or anything like that. It just allow me to use this to unlock and lock it. We're also going to want our client camera rotation lock so that now it's sending it to the server and it's also playing it remotely. So now when we come in, we should be able to press control and we'll lock our camera here. And it will also display it on everywhere over here on the client. And I'm going to drag that down there so that I can now drag these two bubbles. I know they'll just stay neat. This line will just stay nice and neat. So now that we have our fall set, now we want to be able to toggle back out. So we can just simply copy this without the connector. And we can toggle this off. And we can just quickly fix this comment. Set rotation lock to false if it's already true. Plug that into true. I'll move all this up a little more just because I didn't give myself enough room. I like it going straight out of the true pin. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit lopsided. You can always just right click and straighten connections. And I like the false just drag down like that. So now we're just going to copy all this here and paste it up here so we can set it on the server and the client. If we're toggling out of it, still never gave myself enough room here. And we can simply reverse these so that we're turning on the rotation, orient rotation, turning off the control desired rotation. And comment this whole thing. Camera rotation lock, and it's a toggle, so let's put that there. And I'll keep this tick on just so it's one of the main bubbles. And when we play now, should be able to toggle in and toggle back out, and it'll work on both client and server. You'll start off in this movement mode. There's one more issue that you will run into is that you'll notice that you can't sprint in all directions, only when you're sprinting forward. That works fine when you're in this mode, but you can't. But like when you're in this mode, you can't sprint backwards. So that's a simple fix. You want to go into your event graph. Your first you want to go to your character component. And running, you're going to set the true by default. And right here is where it will toggle with false and everything. And you want to drag out of your event tick in your event graph, create a boolean, get your character component, and get your camera rotation lock. And you want to check so basically it'll check if the camera's locked or not before you enter into directional running. So right now, if you run through this, if your y-axis is, it will automatically toggle this false, even though it's true right here. This is when you play, it'll come through here and it'll only set it true when your y-axis is 1. But now it will only do it if your camera is locked, because if your camera is not locked, it won't check any of this, so it can't set this false, so you'll be running. Gonna test this. Okay, I have the running boolean setting up for something else a little differently in my project. Oh yeah, I took the wrong boolean. There's the can run is the one you want to tick, not the running. Sorry. Now you can run, and as long as you're not in that mode, you can run in all directions. When you switch into this mode, you won't be able to run backwards anymore. When you switch back, you'll notice that you're stuck in the mode again, but because you can't toggle back, it comes into here, runs at false, but when you toggle back, you're stuck in false. There's no way to get to true again. So if your camera's locked, we're going to set this to true. It's not locked. It's just a bug that I noticed as I was going through this specifically. As I was heading in, I noticed I couldn't run backwards, so I just quickly figured this out. So now we can run in all directions. We can toggle into our this, and we can't run unless we're going forward or forward left, and then we can toggle back out, and we can run normally. It's gonna be everything. And yeah, okay. That's gonna be everything for this episode. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new tutorial video uploads. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to leave those in the comment section below or join my Discord community in the link using the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next episode.